In this video, I'll walk you through the exact 5-step system I use to score a 98% and call out the study mistake that most student pilots make that doesn't just hurt them on the written test, but also shows back up during the check ride. Step 1 is capture. As you go through each lesson in your ground school, take handwritten notes in a dedicated journal. This isn't just passive watching or reading. This is active learning. You see, writing something down activates a different part of your brain than just watching or listening. It actually deepens your understanding and retention of the information. And if a concept makes more sense to you visually, then draw it right there in the journal. Use clear titles and organized notes so the information is easy to find later. I also found that tabbing out the journal comes in handy later as well. This journal becomes a central reference for the rest of this system, so make sure that you take your time, make it your own, and have fun. Step 2 is convert. As you finish topics, modules, or sections, turn your notes in your journal into flashcards in small batches. Doing it this way helps you from cramming a huge stack of cards all at once, and it helps you organize your flashcards by topic. When you make your own flashcards, you're using generative learning. You're rereading your notes in your journal and then rewriting them again in your own words on those flashcards. By doing this, you're reinforcing the information that you already learned in step 1. And that means you're stacking learning processes before you ever even start using the flashcards. Which brings us to step 3. Reinforce. It's actually time to use those flashcards. And by doing so, you're stacking active recall on top of the deeper knowledge you already built in step 1 and step 2. You're no longer just recognizing information. You're pulling it from memory, explaining it, and strengthening it. For me, I would do this step right after finishing each batch of flashcards before I moved on to another topic. That way, you're taking in all this information little by little instead of trying to take it in all at once. And before moving to step 4, I just wanted to say that I'm going to share a couple of test-taking tips for the actual test day after step 5, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Anyways, step 4 is consolidate. Once you've covered everything and you've completed all lessons and topics inside of your ground school, that's when the system really starts to come together. At this point, you'll have 3 things: a complete journal, a full set of flashcards, and a true understanding of the material. Now you intentionally review everything all together. Go back through your journal, start working through your flashcards, and start connecting pieces of information throughout different topics. This is also a great way and a great time for you to start to prepare for any type of final exam your ground school might require for you to be able to earn your endorsement to take the actual FAA written test. And finally, step 5 is validate. This step should happen when you're either about to or you already have scheduled your real FAA written test. Now it's time to use practice tests. Practice tests aren't for learning new information. They're for confirming what you've learned actually stuck. For practice tests, I personally used and recommend the Sporty's Private Pilot Test Prep app. I liked it because it is an app, and so it made it easy for me to take tests whenever and wherever I had the time to do so. On top of that, the app has a huge bank of questions, and honestly, a lot of them are extremely similar to the ones that you're going to see on the real written test. Your goal should be that leading up to your test, you're taking 2 practice tests a day and you're shooting for the high 90% range. This is also where confidence really gets built. At some point during this phase, you're going to realize that you're scoring really well and suddenly you're not nervous anymore. And when that happens, you're not just hoping that you'll pass. You know you're ready. Let me leave you with a few test-taking tips that can really help on exam day. First thing, slow down. Read every question twice and every answer choice twice as well. The FAA is notorious for having 2 answers in the answer bank that look almost the same, but only one of them is correct. Secondly, after you've answered all the questions, if time permits, do one last review of all your answers and just make sure you didn't make any simple mistakes. Also, bring an electronic flight computer. It really is a huge resource and can make answering the equation questions so much easier. I personally recommend the ASA CX3. Just make sure you actually know how to use it before test day. But the biggest thing to remember and what hurts student pilots the most long term is confusing memorization for understanding. If this is all clicking for you, and I really think it is, then make sure you check out my video right here that walks you through how to get your private pilot's license step by step in the right order. See you over there.